Hey everyone, Justin Holland here with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We are having a good time with this show and making sure we provide value on everything insurance. And this show, we're going to kick off basically everything from the prior shows, the past 5 shows we've got. We want to highlight some of the things that maybe have updated since the last couple shows. There's a lot changing in the insurance industry. So we're going to bring that up and talk about that today in today's show. And that's going to be open enrollment for individual coverage and for Medicare plans for seniors, because that opened up yesterday. And boy, did the phones light up in messages yesterday there at the office. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce myself again. It's Justin Holland with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We're located here out of San Antonio, Texas. We've got Texas State Insurance Services that helps you out with health insurance, employee benefits, Medicare plans, travel insurance, dental and vision plans out there. So we'd love to see how we can help you out with that. And then keep us in mind with Palmetto Life Group. Palmetto Life Group is a division that basically handles life insurance, long-term care planning. We're going to take care of Social Security analysis, which has been very popular, especially with our Medicare community and those aging into age 62 and those getting closer to 65 for Medicare. And that's been well received, along with auto, home, and umbrella policies. We actually had some guests last week regarding that, and that was a great show to really dive in what to expect and what we're seeing in auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and umbrella policy. So if you're needing any assistance with that, again, reach out to Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. One of the mainline numbers you can reach us at is 210-880-5316. And you can visit us online at txstateinsurance.com or palmettolifegroup.com. And we'd love to see how we can visit with you and see how we can help. We've got 4 locations to meet clients with around the San Antonio area. So we try to make it as convenient as we can, as well as a location in McAllen servicing the Rio Grande Valley, where I'm from originally. So let's kick off the show. I'm a solo host today, and we'll probably have some guests with us next week. And I'm actually excited about some of the guests we've got coming on, because there's some big things happening in San Antonio here locally, and I think it's going to be well received from the community and what we're trying to do. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. So we talked about a handful of things on the past shows. So if you're listening today and you might have missed one of the prior shows, this is basically going to be a highlight of some of the important things that I want to talk about, and that's going to be, some life insurance. That's going to be some health insurance, Medicare plans, and open enrollment for seniors. What we're seeing on the individual health insurance front, as well as group employee benefits. And let me tell you, it's been a heck of a year. I think something's going to have to give in this industry with the increases that we're seeing from the health insurance carriers, and that's all segments of the industry. I'm talking the employee benefits side of the business. I'm talking about Medicare side of the business, individual health, and it's an interesting time to be in this industry, and we want to make sure we separate ourselves from the others on letting you know what options you got and what options you can take advantage of. Let's talk about Medicare. So as I mentioned a minute ago, the phones and messaging and emails were off the hook yesterday on the 15th of the month of October. That's technically when your annual enrollment period starts. Now, we were able to window shop the past couple weeks of what the new plans and what the costs are looking like this past week. But today, notices hit our clients, of maybe plans going away, increases on those plans, changes to their Medicare plans. So I'd mentioned in that show, you've got notices that are going to hit your mailbox. And if you got a stack of mail there, you're Medicare eligible, you're on a Medicare plan, make sure you don't neglect those notices. Take a look at what those carriers are making changes on and reach out to us, and we'll help you take a look and make sure you're in the best option and shop those options for you. And that's going to go for not just Medicare Advantage plans, which a lot of people have, but those are Medicare supplement plans, plans G, Plan N that we're looking at for clients, as well as your standalone prescription drug plans. Formularies are changing. Medications that were covered this year might not be covered on your plan or even other carrier plans going into 2026. We're noticing some of these changes. Now, we have hundreds and hundreds of clients that we're trying to do these assessments for. We've got some pretty cool technology that we're sending out to the clients so we can be proactive with that. But no doubt there are changes coming in the Medicare part of the industry, and you're probably going to see that on your current Medicare plan. So the official enrollment where you can change your plans began yesterday, October 15th, and that will end through December 7th. Okay, so do you have a finite amount of time to make those changes? You absolutely do. But I do want to make sure nobody rushes in just to try to get this off your plate. This is your health insurance. And with the changes that we're seeing in health insurance, you need to really make sure that you're looking at options, do an assessment. You could have had a plan for years now. We have clients that have had plans for years, and it's kind of business as usual. They just stick with the same plan. There's really no reason to change. The cost is within, their threshold or their affordability on what they can afford, and you're good to go. But right now, if medications are changing, costs are going up, this is a good time to shop that. And you don't want to make it a hasty shop. You want to make sure you take your time. We're trying to take stock and take an assessment of what these plans and changes are going to mean for our clients and the new clients that are referred over to us. So reach out to us. We'll help you with a review. Please be patient. The amount of phone calls, messaging, and emails has just been absolutely tremendous. But we will make sure we line up a review, and we also do those reviews after hours, weekends. We try to accommodate as much as we can, and as well as accommodate when we need to have a client come into the office that just wants to sit down and do a review. I will tell you, we're making these reviews very quick, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes for initial consultations. And sometimes we're able to make a decision on those plans within that time as well. The reason we're able to be efficient with that is we've got some tools that helps us really, really quickly. And as long as we have accurate information, doctors and medications and details that we need, we can help our clients size up their plans and take an assessment pretty quickly. Some others we've got to do some research on if there's some disruptions in the network or a plan change or a carrier exiting the market. That can take a little bit more time. That reminds me, there are carriers that are exiting the market, okay, with particular plans. And we've had a handful of clients. I mean, just yesterday, we had a carrier that was removing a prescription drug plan. It was a very popular prescription drug plan that we helped our clients enroll, and it was a great plan. So we're going to be looking at alternative plans with that carrier, but we're also going to be looking at alternative plans with other carriers as well. But we're going to see that a lot right now. Deductibles and cost increases. So it looks like that the Medicare Part B deductible is going to increase, and the Part B premium is going to increase. We're still waiting on COLA numbers regarding Social Security, those that are that could get an increase or bump in their Social Security. A lot of times that Social Security COLA update is going to be hand in hand on when they release the Medicare increase numbers for your deductible and Part B premiums. And we've got a government shutdown right now. So I got a notice on getting the new COLA numbers for Social Security. And that's cost of living adjustment, by the way, for those that are on Medicare, not Medicare, but you could be on Medicare as well as your Social Security. But the government shutdown is slowing some things down, okay? And speaking of slowdowns, let me tell you right now, if you are getting close or aging into Medicare, okay, age 65, and maybe you're already age 65 and Medicare eligible and you're looking at retiring from your group health insurance plan, you need to be proactive with getting online to Social Security, because that's actually where you start your enrollment for your Medicare A and B. And we're noticing that the Social Security office is just getting overwhelmed. There were layoffs there, they're short staffed, but we have so many people aging into Medicare this year. And then you've got so many people that are deciding to retire this year and actually come off maybe a group benefits plan and move forward with Medicare. There's just not enough people to handle that. And what we're seeing is, in some cases, we'll help assist with direct phone calls to the Social Security office with our clients and try to check the status of their Medicare applications. Can't tell you how many times we're doing that a day and calling in and trying to help facilitate that. But they're overwhelmed. Applications are sometimes getting lost. Sometimes there's additional information that you've got to get to the Social Security office that was not submitted on the initial application. That could be proof of credible coverage through your current employer. And that's important. They're going to need that because you don't want to get penalized or fined. That's one of those situations where if you can't prove that you had credible health insurance coverage through your employer, when you became Medicare eligible, you can get penalized for that. So it's been exhausting. All I can tell you is you want to be proactive. Reach out to us. We'll give you some steps on how to be proactive in submitting your application for Medicare A and B through the Social Security portal. You need to be prepared for there to maybe be a hiccup and possibly go to the Social Security office, make a few follow-up phone calls, and check the status of that. We are seeing a lot of that right now. And, we're talking to some good people at the Social Security office. They're doing the best they can. It's just there's just a deluge of individuals that are engaging their Medicare coverage, and that's we're noticing a bottleneck there. But I can't stress enough that we're here to help you navigate that and get through that. But we just talked about plan exits, updates to plans on your Medicare, deductible and prescription drug costs increasing. You're going to need to keep an eye on that. Your overall Medicare costs are increasing as well. There's going to need to be a review for some clients that maybe came down with a chronic illness. And I'm talking like cardiovascular disease or diabetes. Sometimes there are some chronic Medicare plans that are going to take care of you or have a little bit stronger benefit for you than others. So we'll help you with that review too, just in case your health has changed or there's been a diagnosis change on that as well. Supplemental Medicare plans, Medigap, your Plan Gs, your Plan Ns. Some people still have a Plan F out there that we're able to take care of that. This might be a time to start shopping your Medicare supplement plan. Okay, we are noticing increases there. I was with visiting with a carrier earlier this week that we have quite a bit of clients with on a Plan G Medicare medical supplement, and they're going to allow us to actually take existing clients down to a Plan N for lower cost premiums, but having a higher deductible. So what does that mean? That means you'll pay a little less on your monthly premium. However, you'll have a little bit higher exposure that a deductible that you'll have to meet before they'll pay 100% of the plan. For some individuals that are relatively healthy and they don't have really a lot going on medically wise, but they just kind of want to save on that premium, that could be an option that we look into. It's a case-by-case basis. A lot of times if we're looking at an alternative carrier from what they have now, underwriting applies, but you could be with a carrier that allows us to do basically a lateral move into another plan and not have to worry about medical underwriting. So that was pretty exciting to hear this week from that particular carrier, and we can absolutely talk to you about that as well. So that gives us some details on the Medicare annual enrollment that just kicked off yesterday. And we've got our work cut out for us. I like to kid that I'm going to need to eat my Wheaties and get prepared for this open enrollment. And but we love this business. We are passionate about it, and we want to make sure we help you with your Medicare review. And if you're a business owner or you run an HR department for a business, you've got aging, valued employees that are needing assistance engaging their Medicare. They're needing assistance engaging or preparing for their Social Security. We're here to help you with that. I am a registered Social Security analyst, an RSSA. There's only a handful of us here in San Antonio and South Texas. And that has been helpful on us helping employees of these companies take a look at their Medicare options and their Social Security. As the costs are increasing for these group benefits plans, a lot of times it makes sense to go Medicare. And that also relates, for the group plan, there is some cost savings there collectively if it makes sense for those employees to go full-fledged Medicare. There's usually a threshold to where, hey, your cost is going to be more or less. We do a complete review, and that can be based on premium, that could be based on doctors or office visits, as well as medications. But again, if you're your employer, small or large or medium-sized business, we'd love to visit with you. We'll create a custom game plan and outreach campaign to help service your valued employees and really take a look at where they stand going into Medicare and Social Security, and give them some peace of mind on the support they'll have to really engage those very important decisions that could affect them, short term and long term. So make sure you reach out to us there at Texas State Insurance Services or Palmetto Life Group. So that talks about Medicare. Let's talk about Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. I got to plug what we do here locally, and we're real excited that we have this Mad Insurance Show making a difference in insurance, because I don't think a lot of people are taking the time to talk about what's going on in the industry and being proactive on helping, individuals, family members, seniors, and those small businesses out there really see what's going on in the landscape of insurance. Texas State Insurance Services is basically going to be there to help you navigate Medicare plans for seniors, individual health insurance plans for individuals or families, even children in some cases, and as well as individual dental, vision plans, travel insurance. We've got a handful of clients that we help out with travel insurance, and believe it or not, travel insurance is pretty reasonable, especially when you compare it to the cost of your flights and your hotels and what you're spending on meals on that travel. The travel insurance cost can be a drop in the bucket. God forbid something serious comes up on an overseas trip with yourself or your family members. So Texas State Insurance Services really are our insurance arm. We also help with small employee benefits and large employee benefits. We got some great channel partners to really take an assessment of what you've got employee benefits wise, and we'll help you take a look at every option you've got. There are some industry changes. There's some ICRA situations to where a lot of these employers are just they're frankly getting sick and tired of the increases they're getting from their group benefits renewals, specifically for the health insurance, and they might just be looking at a reimbursement or an arrangement to where they're going to help their employees cover a cost of their health insurance, but they shop for that cost on their own. And the ICRA plans and that arrangement within health insurance, I don't think we're where we need to be yet for that. I think I'm optimistic going into 2026 and 2027 that we'll see some legislation that could really help strengthen the ICRA situation for small employers. But if you heard that acronym before, reach out to us. We'll take a look and prepare you for the upcoming years when it might be the right time to make a change to an ICRA plan. And as I mentioned, it's an employer basically providing a benefit or a dollar amount towards those individual health insurance plans. One employee might not benefit from a specific carrier or plan that's offered from their employer. And that can go for all the employees or some of the employees. You never know. However, if you can empower your employee to be able to shop the plans that work best for them and their family members and still help contribute to their health insurance, that's a win. And that also takes the relief off of the company on having to worry about, increase. I don't think it's very rare that you see a decrease in your health insurance premiums. We're seeing double digits across the board on group employee benefits plans, but we're optimistic that there's going to be some strategies coming up that I think, A lot of people are promoting right now, but we're just not where we need to be. But ICRAs are definitely something you're going to want us to visit with you about and take a look at with that. So that was a long-winded commercial for Texas State Insurance Services, but there's a lot to talk about. And that goes for the Medicare plans for seniors, individuals, for family members and individuals, and the employee benefits out there. So reach out to us, and we'd love to help you out. We've actually got some details that we can send you regarding the companies and the services we've got. So if you need information mailed out to you or emailed in a PDF document, again, visit us at txstateinsurance.com or give us a call at 210-880-5316. Again, it's Justin Holland, the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We just spent some time talking about Medicare, the Medicare open enrollment. Now let's discuss the Affordable Care Act open enrollment that we're preparing for. That's going to begin November 1st, and that's going to go through December 15th, and I'm sorry, the end of December, for an effective date of January 1st. Now, you will have some time to get additional coverage after that as well, but bottom line is, if you're needing January 1st coverage, we're going to want to start talking to you in November, at the very latest in December, to make sure we get you on an individual health insurance plan if you're not offered coverage through your employer, or the coverage that you're offered through your employer is too expensive. A lot of times we see the family glitch situation that was just corrected about 36 months ago, and that was a breath of fresh air. They finally fixed the situation where the family members of an employee could actually go on the market and qualify a lot of times, in most cases, for lower cost coverage while the employee stayed on the group plan. And that's important. I'll give an example here in just a minute on that. But the individual marketplace doesn't just benefit those individuals that aren't offered health insurance. That's going to benefit those individuals that maybe we need to get a spouse, a child, one or the other, or both, on a marketplace plan while the employee sticks with their employer-sponsored plan. A lot of scenarios out there. I'll give you one example right now that I mentioned on one of the prior shows. We had an auto dealership client that had a valued employee there, and he was Justin. Hey, I've got this individual health insurance plan that we're on. I want to get on the company plan now that I'm employed here, but I can't afford the family premium for my wife and my two children. And we were absolutely able to shop individual plans for that gentleman. He stayed on the company plan for his reasonable premium there. The company was contributing towards his cost of the coverage, and we were able to get the spouse and children on another plan. It was, let's just call it $130 a month, and it was a reasonable premium. Okay, and they had copays day one for the doctor, for the specialist, for urgent care. They had prescription drug coverage as well. So that was a breath of fresh air for that individual, because that premium was going to be well over $1,000 a month from his paycheck if he tried to get the family members on the plan. So that family glitch is still intact to be able to help those individuals out there. Now, are there some cases where an employer-sponsored plan is unaffordable for the employee? Yeah, we've got a handful of those scenarios. And if that's the case, a lot of times on these smaller groups, it just makes sense for the employee to go individual coverage. We'd love to help you shop that as well. Individual coverage. Let's talk about this because this is important. We brought this up on a few shows already. There are increases coming to the Affordable Care Act plans. There are also carriers that are exiting the market. One that we know of, Aetna is exiting the market. If you're out in an Aetna CVS individual health insurance plan, it's going away. We've got notices that are going out to our clients on that. Aetna is being proactive on letting people know that. So we'll be needing to shop individual health insurance plans and a change for our clients that have an Aetna individual health insurance plan. There's some rumblings that maybe some other carriers are going to quietly exit as well. So we might see a little disruption on the individual health insurance plan carrier-wise, but the biggest disruption is the increases in premiums. we're going to see, double digit increases. I don't think any carrier is going to have a single digit increase. Everything's going to be double digit. And we're seeing anywhere from 20 to 40+% talked about. We really won't know what those premiums look like until probably the last week of October, where we can window shop. And then full fledged, November 1st, we'll be able to have a pretty accurate view on what the individual cost is going to be for individual health insurance plans out there. So that's going to be a busy time of year because we're overlapping the Medicare open enrollment. A lot of employers are doing their open enrollment season as well right now, as well as the individual marketplace plans for individual coverage. Now, it's not just the cost of the health insurance that's going to go up for everybody. There are the subsidies that a lot of families have been able to take advantage of over the past couple years with a prior administration, and really helped out that family of four, family of five, or maybe a few more kids than that, and they were at a six-figure income. If you think about it, you got two family members maybe pulling in $50,000 to $60,000 a piece, and when you got a family of four, that dual income can only go so far with the cost of everything else out there, from groceries, from your rent, from your mortgage, your car payments. Health insurance is a cost that we're seeing getting inflated. And where we're concerned is the subsidies that a lot of individuals have been able to take advantage of. For example, maybe a family of four or five was traditionally having to pay or expected to pay $1,200 to $1,600 a month on a premium, and that premium came down to $400 or $500, maybe $600 for that family, which was more reasonable, more affordable for the family to cover. We might be getting back to those $1,000 plus premiums, and I think we've got a problem. And we're going to need to look at alternatives for those family members on their individual health insurance. And we're looking at that. We're looking at short-term medical options, which were very popular years ago prior to those subsidies increasing. And I think they've kind of gone to the wayside, and now they're coming back. Because if our legislatures don't update or extend these subsidies to these family members or these families that could qualify or currently qualifying for them now that end at the end of the year of December of 2025, they're going to be scrambling. And here's the reality of that. Not everybody can qualify for short-term medical plans. Not everybody can qualify for health coverage options, not health insurance. Underwriting can apply. And typically where you're only able to get health insurance where there's no pre-existing condition clauses, it's going to be a group-sponsored health insurance plan or a small group benefits plan that you could get through your employer, or the Affordable Care Act plans, okay? One of the reasons why they cost so much is because pre-existing conditions don't apply. And there's essential health benefits that are baked in to that cost of that insurance, and there's a cost to that, and it increases that. So where I'm concerned is the affordability for those insureds or our clients or future clients on, hey, we're going to take a look at the Affordable Care Act plans. We'll see if that's affordable, despite what we're facing with this upcoming enrollment period. And then we will also take a look at short-term medical plans. Maybe we'll look at some catastrophic coverage plans. There could be entrepreneurs or business owners out there that this is the time to start looking at a small employee benefits plan. Maybe you're on individual coverage and you want to start entertaining a small group plan. We'll look at that. What's nice about us with Texas State Insurance Services, we'll take a look at individual health insurance. We'll take a look at, a small group benefits plan. And sometimes the costs are kind of lateral. They're in line. Now, it's one thing if you qualify for a significant subsidy, and some of your employees could qualify for a significant subsidy. So we got to make sure we're on the same page with that. But let's do a review. So if you want to entertain that small group benefits plan and have access to a PPO network, which I think is shrinking, really the only way you can get a PPO network is through an employer-sponsored plan or a small group plan. Everything else on individual markets are going to be HMO or EPOs. Now, there are some PPO plans on the individual market that are available in different states. The trade-off is they are very expensive. The cost for those plans are very high. But that the Affordable Care Act open enrollment that we're fixing to engage, you want to make sure you're on top of that. Okay, and we'd love to help you out and look at your individual health insurance situation, and see what we can do to help, because I think some, or a lot of people maybe, here locally are going to see some changes and increases to their premium, and we're going to maybe look at some alternatives to help you out. And that could be short-term medical. That could be setting up a direct primary care plan where you can see a primary care doctor when you need it, or an urgent care. We're just going to need to get creative. And if your current agent is not looking at all those options, it might be time to change an agent or take a look at another agency. So be patient with us this fall, because we're going to be helping out quite a few people with their individual health insurance, their Medicare, doing the group benefits reviews. But we're anxious to be able to try to service you and take care of you with the best coverage and options that you've got going into the new year. But the Affordable Care Act, no doubt, we're going to see some changes there. I am hopeful that we will also see some HSAs, some health savings account eligible accounts that will be available to our consumers. I'm hoping that those premiums are reasonable. You know, a lot of times that these HSA plans are still just, they're a higher premium. And I'm hoping the carriers will scale those premiums back to where, hey, you as the insurance or insurance client are going to take on the majority of that deductible, if not all the deductible, and take on that risk from the insurance carrier. God forbid there's a serious accident or medical condition that comes up, and they need to reward you for a lower premium. So anxious to see what the individual plans look like. I'm hoping we have multiple carriers that provide an HSA option off of that as well, but that will remain to be seen first week of November, once we start having the ability to take a look at the individual health insurance plans. Quick show identification today. You're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance, where we're talking about everything insurance, from auto and home to umbrella policies to health insurance, Medicare plans, employee benefits. And keep us on your schedule, because every show is going to be different. We got some special guests that are hopefully coming in on the next few weeks. We had some great guests the past couple weeks. But I will tell you, what's nice about what we're hearing. I had a visit with United Healthcare this week, and they've got a partnership with Sanitas. And we're hoping to have them on the show to talk about a primary care doctor option for the individual marketplace plan clients that we've got, specifically to United Healthcare. So I'm excited about that. They're going to have multiple clinics around San Antonio. We're visiting with them on how to have our clients engage their facility, because a lot of times what we've seen over the past decade with individual health insurance is they get a plan and they can't find a doctor. They can't get into a doctor to see, and that was a challenge. A lot of times a carrier site would have a specific doctor listed, and the consumer or client would reach out to them and say, hey, no, we don't accept that plan. So United Healthcare, I think, is stepping up here at a local level, and this is specific to San Antonio, and we'll be bringing more about the Sanitas primary care model that we've got coming in, specifically for individual health insurance clients. And I think that'll be a breath of fresh air, not just for us as an agent broker, but our valued clients and those clients that will be engaging for health insurance reviews going into this fall to prepare for the 2020-26 new year off of that as well. So some cool stuff. Despite price increases and everything we're seeing in the industry, there are some good things that are coming up, and we're excited about that. But thank you for joining us here on the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference of insurance. We're going to talk about another topic now, and that's going to be about life insurance. We had a complete show that was dedicated to life insurance a few weeks ago, and we talked about living benefits. We talked about long-term care. I am very passionate about life insurance, protecting your family. God forbid something happens to you. You want to make it, so to speak, a good day to die. Okay. And some people give me a hard time about that, but It's true. You want to make sure that you have all your affairs in order. You want to have a life insurance policy if you can qualify for it, especially if you're taking care of your family members financially and you've got children, you've got a spouse that you want to take care of. There could be a special needs child or a young adult that you need to make sure that money's set aside for. God forbid something happens to you. And life insurance is a huge, huge component on protecting your family from a devastating situation. God forbid they lose that. And life insurance can provide some peace of mind as well for those family members. They can mourn. I heard a story a few days ago on the PBD podcast, or I'm sorry, it wasn't on PBD podcast. It was Patrick McDavid on his Valuetainment Connect promotion. It's a really cool site they've got on Connect if you need to get direct mentorship or reach out to individuals in the business world for questions answered. And he talked about somebody that reached out that had just lost both of their family members in a period of 2 months or something like that. It was heartbreaking, but those family members had a life insurance policy in place, $500,000, and they were able to take some time off of work. Those are devastating situations when you lose a loved one, and having that financial windfall can really help alleviate that and take care of some odds and ends for the family and give some peace of mind there. So life insurance, very important to have for your family's protection. And I also brought up long-term care in that prior episode. And if you haven't had to deal with a long-term care situation for a loved one or a family, you might not get it. You might not know how time-consuming, the financial impact, the emotional impact it can take on you and your family if you're not prepared for long-term care. I'll tell you right now, we are living longer lives, but we're not necessarily living healthier lives. I'm a living example of that. I've had some challenges health-wise this year, and really trying to make some changes and lifestyle changes to make sure, hey, not only do I want to live longer, but I also want to live healthier. But sometimes our health just is going to come in and throw us for a loop, and long-term care, a chronic or terminal condition can come up, and you got a problem. And a lot of people don't realize that long-term care is not covered by health insurance plans, okay? It's not covered by Medicare plans. You need to make sure you're prepared for long-term care. We had some clients reach out to us this week. We're looking at individual long-term care plans for them, or we're also looking at life insurance plans that have riders that can trigger an effect for a long-term care situation. And that's coming down with a chronic injury, a chronic illness, a terminal illness. And a lot of people just don't think about that. Alzheimer's. We've got insurance to where if you come down with Alzheimer's, it's going to protect you from that situation as well. And you can take out that benefit and take care of our loved ones. But long-term care, I think the average could be $100,000 a year when needed. It's not cheap. And if you prepare now, if you prepare proactively, you can make sure you're in a good position, because we're all going to get older. We're all going to mostly live longer, and we're all going to have a long-term care situation possibly inflict us or a family member or everyone. So make sure that you're looking at your life insurance options. You can reach out to Palmetto Life Group, and we'd love to help you out with a quote off of that, or a standalone long-term care plan, or possibly both. Real passionate about that because, again, if you haven't had to deal with an untimely death for a loved one or family member or colleague or employee, that's one thing. If you haven't had to deal with a long-term care situation for a family member, you just don't know. But we can provide some value, show you some paths on how to protect yourself from that, because it's real, and it can be devastating for a family if you're not prepared for that. So life insurance, long-term care, some of these policies are going to be limited on how long they will cover you, depending on your age. The younger and healthier you are, the lower cost it is, and you can lock in some rates. A lot of times we'll have individuals that'll do, a term insurance plan and want to be able to convert that for a permanent or long-term policy for the rest of their life. So there's some convertibility options depending on the carrier off of that as well, and we can visit with you on that when you have a moment. But reach out to Palmetto Life Group. We'd love to visit with you and help you. You can go to palmettolifegroup.com or call one of our main numbers, 210-880-5316. And we can take a look at the life insurance with living benefits, or we can take a look at standalone long-term care plans. A lot of times, long-term care can be offered to larger employers where you can actually get that benefit through a large-scale employer. Not every large employer offers that. If you're our large employer, let us know. We'd love to show you some of those details on providing a long-term care plan for your valued employees. But most of the time, it's a separate individual plan, and there's only a handful of carriers that offer long-term care insurance, and there's only a handful of carriers that offer life insurance with the living benefits on that as well. But that's important. I wanted to bring that up in the show, not just talk about our Medicare individual health insurance plans or even employee benefits. Thank you for visiting and joining us here for the Mad Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance. We've discussed Medicare updates. We've discussed the Affordable Care Act health insurance situation we've got going on. If you've got individual health insurance, we've got to make sure we take a look at your options because costs are going to go up, and we want to make sure that you guys are protected with the most affordable and best options that you can have for yourself or your family. We just wrapped up a few segments, and now we're going to talk about Social Security. I brought this up a minute ago that the Social Security office is very overwhelmed right now. There's more individuals aging into Medicare or getting close to Social Security age to be able to start taking on their benefits than ever before. And the Social Security office is getting overwhelmed. And you want to make sure that you have somebody that's helping you guide you some steps and maybe helping you from being more effective, not wasting time on engaging your Social Security and or your Medicare. A lot of that goes hand in hand, and we can help you with that. I'm a registered Social Security analyst. We're really proud of that. There's only a handful of us here in the San Antonio and South Texas area. It's been very well received and helpful. Not just our Medicare individual clients, but also employers out there that are needing assistance. And we've actually been doing workshops at the employer locations, multiple locations here around the area to discuss Social Security and Medicare and what to prepare these employees, these valued employees, on what they need to do and the steps they need to prepare for to maximize their Social Security benefits and also prepare for Medicare. I mentioned this in the show a minute ago. You have to enroll through the Social Security portal or through Social Security for your Medicare. Some individuals that are turning 65 maybe already engaged that portal because they started taking or drawing their Social Security at age 62. If you want to do a review and see what the Social Security looks like for you and your spouse, we can actually do a complete review, take in your income records, and see, hey, when can we maximize the benefits for you and your spouse? And there's a lot of individuals that are not taking advantage of survivorship benefits. There's some individuals that are divorced that can still take advantage of a Social Security benefit as well. There's guidelines and thresholds you need to hit or qualify for on that, but you could be leaving money on the table regarding Social Security, and we'd love to help you with that. On the Social Security front, we had mentioned this on one of our last shows. Retirees on average are missing out on $100,000 in lifetime benefits by incorrectly claiming their Social Security. $100,000, that's a lot of money, and we wanted to make sure we bring that up again in this week's episode because I think it bears repeating. Make sure you're visiting with somebody that's going to help you guide you on your Social Security as well as your Medicare. And we're proud of being registered Social Security analysts here at Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group, where we can help you create, a strategic, claiming option for everybody. And that can be for couples, that can be for widows, that can be for divorced individuals, and just regular individuals that want to maximize their Social Security benefit. So, being an RSSA has allowed us to separate ourselves from other brokers and agents in the area, and providing that value add to our clients that we're engaging on employee benefits, or just our Medicare clients, or those individuals that aren't Medicare age yet, but they're wanting to maybe get a snapshot and take a look at what to prepare for. Hey, that Social Security benefit is only going to help me so much. Maybe I need to start socking money away in a retirement plan or into some other investment opportunities to where I can supplement the Social Security income. So, it's not just for those individuals that are turning 62 or maybe turning 65 or retiring after 65. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of individuals in their late 50s that are going to want to visit, maybe you're in their 40s, and make sure we've got a game plan to prepare for their Social Security benefit and how that will relate to their retirement strategy and the income they're going to want as they get older. Social Security is often the foundation of a solid retirement plan. So again, don't neglect on doing a review with that. And I'm going to invite listeners to the show, or those that are watching the video. We do a weekly workshop at our North San Antonio office in the Stone Oak area and discuss Medicare and Social Security. You can visit us on that web workshop in person, or you can actually join us remotely on that. And if you go to txstateinsurance.com/events, you can RSVP for our next luncheon, or give us a call at 210-880-5316. These workshops have been great. So maybe you've got a handful of employees that want to stop by a workshop. You really don't need us to do an on-site review. And then we've got employers with hundreds of employees where it makes sense to do multiple location visits and do a Medicare 101 workshop or Health Insurance 101 workshop and visit about Social Security and Medicare and how it relates to the employee benefits. So make sure you reach out to us by phone. Again, that number is 210-880-5316, or the website txstateinsurance.com. These workshops have been very well received. And if you join us in person at our weekly workshop, and we've got it every Wednesday at 12 p.m., we got some light snacks, some actually tasty snacks. We try to make sure, we don't have some dull food there at the events, but we'd love to have you there. We've had these at restaurants locally as well. We might start doing those again at restaurants, but because it's our busy season, we need to stay close to the office. And we've got a large conference area to be able to accommodate the valued employees or the individuals that just want to learn a little bit more about Medicare and Social Security, and some stuff on individual health insurance that we bring up there as well. So that's important to take a look at. Again, you're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance. My name's Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. We've discussed health insurance for individuals that are coming up for open enrollment on Medicare. Very important. That kicked off yesterday. We've discussed individual health insurance with the Affordable Care Act, the changes that are coming there, the fact that we're seeing small group benefits increases, double digits. We're seeing anywhere from 12%, which, hey, we take it and run in some cases, to 30, 40+% increases. And I don't think we've hit a reset in the health insurance industry yet, but I think we're getting close, because at some point, something's going to break. And I don't know what's going to break, but, these costs are just increasing. I don't know. I'm anxious to see what the coming years look like, because group insurance is getting disrupted. Medicare insurance is getting disrupted, as well as individual health insurance is getting disrupted. You want to make sure you've got a trusted agency. We'd love to help you with that, and you can reach out to us. What are we going to talk about now? We're going to talk about auto, home, and umbrella coverage. Okay. We had some great guests last week with the My Insurance Group. I had John Hansen and I had James Cardenas join me Great guys. They are our channel partner on individual health and I'm no sorry, individual auto and home as well as the umbrella policies, and we discussed a lot of scenarios regarding auto insurance, homeowners insurance, the cost increases that you're seeing there, what's driving those costs on those policies. We talked about me personally. I hit a deer a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks ago, but earlier this year, and had to do a claim on that. I drive a lot. I've driven probably millions of miles over the years, and had not hit a deer before, and I finally hit one, and I saw firsthand, the challenges that you can have on an auto claim. I'm glad I had the coverage and insurance that I had in place, but you want to make sure you do a review off of that. If you need assistance with your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance, or you're taking a look at an umbrella policy, we'd love to visit with you. We've got some great partners that can help us shop that, take a look at it, become your agent. A lot of times we've got our health insurance clients, and it just makes sense to not just help out with the health insurance, but help out with that life insurance policy, the auto and home. That way, everything's taken care of. And, it'd be one thing if we worked with just a direct health insurance company or a direct life insurance or a direct auto and home, but we are brokers. We're going to make sure we look at all of the carriers and options that you have access to be able to leverage that and shop your options. And we're proud of that. And that's one thing that we take pride in as a broker is we're going to look at every carrier. We're going to look at every scenario and option that you've got. You just got to reach out to us. We'll schedule a time to visit and we'll lay everything out. We want to earn your business and we want to keep earning your business every day. And that's going to be by service. That's going to be being by support, answering the phone, returning messages. Now, sometimes we get a little busy and we want to try to return that call or message as soon as possible. But we do our best to try to get back to everybody within about 24 hours of reaching out to us. So we've got some great people in support that be able to help us on that. But back to the auto and home and umbrella coverage, we just wanted to reinforce the full service capability of making sure that you've got the best options or you're in the best option that you can be on. We discussed flood insurance, last week as well on the show, and that was eye-opening. You might need flood insurance, and you might not think you need it, and it could be just a reasonable expense that you can add. God forbid something comes up. I brought up a scenario on my home personally. I've got houses stacked, in my block that create a deluge of water when we get some of those really heavy rains. And they brought up an example, that can be a flood situation, not just a rising creek. You could have a deluge of water just depending on where you live, could be a flood event. It could be a flood event with hailstorms. I didn't realize this, but last week, James, a part of the show, brought up the fact that when you got a stack of hail that accumulates at your doorstep or at your house, that can cause a flooding event and claim. So just make sure you're in good shape regarding your auto, home, and umbrella policies. If you need help with a commercial policy, we can help get you dialed in with a quote with that as well. Reach out to us, 210-880-5316, or visit us at txstateinsurance.com, or you can also visit palmettolifegroup.com and see how we can help out with some quotes and options. I'm going to close out the show. We're going to wrap this up here in just a minute. I cannot thank y'all enough for joining us for the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance here on KTSA. And we're having fun. We're hopefully providing value. We're bringing up topics that are important for you as the consumer and the potential client that we want to engage and earn the business with. And we're going to have some great guests coming up in the coming weeks, and we're excited about that, from providers' offices to carriers to, like what I've had the past couple of weeks, industry experts that can provide value to our trusted listeners here on the show. But just a quick recap. The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. It started October 15th, which was yesterday. I'm recording this show in the studio right now, but that was on October 15th, and you don't want to sleep on your Medicare annual enrollment period. So reach out to us at Texas State Insurance Services to take a look at your Medicare plans and see if there's some options that we need to consider for you. the annual enrollment period or open enrollment period for the Affordable Care Act. Individual health insurance is coming up. You want to make sure that if you miss the opportunity to get insurance this year on the individual market, that you visit with us and take a look at your individual health insurance options in the coming months. Because I will tell you, we had many phone calls of individuals that didn't have health insurance this year. They did not enroll with us or whoever last fall, and they went out this year without health insurance, and they're in the hospital. And they're facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills when we could have gotten them an affordable health insurance option. So a lot of times the health insurance will be affordable. We've just got to help you shop it and take a look at that. So make sure you reach out to us and prepare for that. Life insurance, Social Security analysis, we also spoke about, and we just wrapped up regarding auto, home, and umbrella policies that we can help you review as well. But I can't thank y'all enough for joining us on this week's show. This 56 minutes that I get goes really quick, but make sure you reach out to us at Texas State Insurance Services, 210-880-5316, or visit us online at txstateinsuranceservices.com, and we'd love to help you out with everything insurance. We appreciate you joining us for the show. Y'all have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.